games, MSJ did have a lot of success when it comes to that early game kind of tempo-oriented style of play. And so hopefully they're in positions where they can do that here yet again.
And here we go. Team Vitality versus MSJ. And MSJ, again, with these astronaut mole divers, using Milk's little legend that he is so famous for using. And they're all making the same choice for the Cast Fest, which lessens the cost of these charms.
Yeah, by half. So we might be seeing players click on charms that they wouldn't necessarily have previously. Say, going back to that random emblem, right? If that's 8 gold or 7 gold instead of 15, maybe I'm actually clicking on that one. There's some potential.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be quite awesome to see some of these RNG plays go their way because of the cheaper charms. We do see, as we look across this lobby, just the amount of names that are so recognizable, and really hoping that they can set themselves up apart from the rest and secure themselves that 2-0 victory in groups to get them into the playoffs.
100%. It all starts now. On board with perhaps an early Frost opener with that Warwick and Twitch. Sword being the component there, but we know as soon as any player finds a Syndra, I kind of thought I was going to like manifest a Syndra there with that orb. That would have been really cool, but not the case. But yeah, that's going to... it was one of the shots. I did do it, Celia. I did do it. I manifested it. Yippee!
Cosmo also has one on bench, but looking like... I thought maybe they were going to go towards that Zoe line, which they do have significantly more of those units. Obviously a great line as well, if they do elect to go that direction.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of pairs here. Definitely wanting to see a bow come through with an item. Gonna be getting a Cassidon. It is a tier, not bad.
Yeah, we'll just be holding on that Cassidon, not selling anything to pick up that Jax. We will have our first augment being gold. Rerolling that Mage Crest very quickly here. Looking for something else that will set them apart in this game.
Category 5. We could run it back, Sealy. We could be seeing it again. And no, it's going to be Patient Study instead. School mascot for Toronto Tokyo being a big one.
Yeah, and K3 Soju having learning to spell, which is very helpful for those who don't know how to spell, but also for those AP casters gaining as much AP as possible. And here we go. Syndra gameplay from Soju with that Sojin on this unit already, getting as many casts as possible, and half of that Gnasher's Tooth, which we see being a very often slammed second item.
Yeah, learning to spell. We saw that picked, I believe it was from Alan earlier on in the day, but actually had 5 loss streaked and not able to really get all those stacks. Soju, however, is going to be strong. He will be getting unit takedowns here, so his Syndra will be absolutely massive, stacking up not only with the ability, but with that AP across the team as well.
Yeah, this is a dream start right now on this patch for Soju. Curious to see across the lobby where people are ending up. We have Setsuko across the way here. Everyone's scouting around. Milk having that Shimmer Scale item here early on, also contesting on this Syndra.
Yep, we see potentially a Kog'Maw. Or
Kog'Maw
Setsuko here. It is a Kog'Maw 2. That is very, very early for that. The Shojin is going to be on Tristana for now, however. But maybe even considering selling it. I'm going to swap that one over.
Yeah, it's not super helpful on that Tristana. I'm not sure how it ended up there, but I believe he probably will make 10 gold here. Yep, playing pretty greedy, knowing that gold is needed to reroll and hit these units that are so heavily contested in these lobbies.
Yeah, very much so. Setsuko making 10 gold as well. And we've seen Kog'Maw have very little success, right? You were talking about the stats of it coming into today. It was like a 5.6. It did do well in one of our matches earlier, but that was when it was uncontested, not really denied very heavily. Hopefully Setsuko, for Vitality's sake, will find himself in a similar situation.
The problem is Milk might be directly contesting him here. He does have that Mogul's Mail early, which we know to be super strong, able to generate a ton of gold, but also has that Honey Mancer setup alongside it. Now, he hasn't slammed any of those AD items that would go on this Kog'Maw, just has that super tank in the front line that they're hoping generates some gold.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, Setsuko had the augment that's Transfiguration, which you get a random component, and for every 3 charms you purchase, you get another component, maximum of 4. And this is Cast Fest, so you're going to be much more likely to click on those charms. I think good recognition of that being a more powerful augment in this game specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. And this will be a much better matchup for Milk to generate a lot of gold, and hoping to continue that win streak for Milk and that loss streak for Setsuko. And so that will be the case happening here, as well as farming a gold, maybe 2 from this Mogul's Mail, only 1. So going to be able to make 20 if you sell this Zoe here for Milk is an excellent spot. Oh, he
needs to win first. Yeah, I was to say, oh man, actually not funding the win, unfortunately. It was very close though. But no, Warwick dying a little bit too quickly there, unfortunately, as we get on into the carousel. Panda, only player on a 3-win streak, and El Mumu, only player on a 3-loss streak here. Vitality, all of them have taken at least either 1 win or 1 loss. Or 1 win and 1 loss.
Soju picking up that other component for the Gnasher Tooth on a 3 cost as well, so ideal situation for him, able to get that pick priority. That is going to help this Syndra absolutely pop off throughout the game. Just need to hit that 2-star on that level 6 roll down, or else we get to see have some problems there later on. Amumu directly contesting here as well.
Yeah, at least potential is going to be Syndra too in the shop, kind of considering it. I wonder what the kind of hold up here and clicking it is. Maybe just wants to, you know, wait until the end of the round. Maybe even wants to wait until the round is already underway because they already are losing, right? Maybe wanting to continue and go on that loss streak. It's just going to upgrade it right before the round begins. Might not slam any items, however.
Yeah, doesn't want to show his hand too early, but now slamming all of his items, facing his teammates to try and not take a giant loss to Panda, who is currently at 100 HP. With that Mana Zane that absolutely makes this Zoe unit cast infinite amount of times early in this game with that low mana cost. And so big loss, 4-unit loss. El Mumu continuing that loss streak.
Yeah, big with MSJ taking that artifact forge, but hitting a very, very good item with that Mana Zane. We see the items on the right hand side there. It's 4 Shojins already slammed in the early game.
And I think we clicked one of those upgrade a 1 cost unit, 2 cost units, because that is another tank Kog'Maw on that board that we just saw. But school mascot here and 5 Eldritch are ready for Toronto, Tokyo.
Wow, okay, 5 Eldritch. We do have 1 tier. We have a Sunfire Slam as well, as I think Toronto is going to see who he runs into before maybe putting that Sunfire back onto the board. If it is a teammate and they are weak, might not want to do all of that, but it is going to be MSJ's on, so the Sunfire immediately goes on to the Mordekaiser.
Yeah, he will also be playing Syndra while playing Eldritch, which we've seen contested heavily, but there is a lot of players in this lobby playing Syndra. It looks like almost 4 of them, maybe 5, playing on the Syndra line, so Syndra 2 will be heavily contested, but really important for each of these players.
Yeah, 100%. But this Dark Monolith, right, so powerful. It does slam nothing there. That was pretty funny. But still takes the round win versus On. Panda does get the 5-win streak. Cosmo getting the 4-win streak here into the neutrals. Panda didn't even have Zoe 2 for it all, but didn't even need it just because Mana Zane is able to pump out so much damage.
An interesting thing here, across the board, Vitality 0 streaks whatsoever, have won and lost throughout this stage on different occasions. So no loss streak and no win streak for Vitality. A lot of the economic power is lying in the hands of MSJ with 2 win streakers and a loss streaker.
Yeah, we found the tank Kog'Maw here, and it is on Cosmo's board with that Redemption plus Dragon's Claw. I don't know if that's going to be any sort of commitment towards this Kog'Maw line. If he gets a Reforger, would be nice, but Patient Study means that Cosmo is just going to be leveling up, I believe, in this game instead of re-rolling.
Yeah.
So probably just going to be going a fast 8 kind of style of play here.
Yeah, that's the problem with Patient Study right now in the meta, is even if you want to reroll, you kind of get forced out of it if you start to lose. So he looks like he'll be playing this board for tempo. It is a really good board for tempo because of the traits that it has in there. Able to get that really perfect synergies on level 7 that is going to be very easy for them to reach with patient study.
Looks like On is the designated griefer of MSJ. Gonna be contesting Setsuko. Does already have that Cog mod too, as well as some frontline upgrades, but that is in Rumble and the Galio. Some shivs, but on the bench, however.
Yeah, we were just talking about this charm earlier. This is one of the highest win rate charms for each round on stage 2 and early stage 3 if you're able to get these static shivs. Now slamming it later in this round to try and kill some units, maybe even one of these backliners that's 1-starred, but maybe even win the round.
Oh no!
Oh no, that is a huge mistake.
Oh man, really wanted Pin his win streak to carry forward, but it slammed one too many shivs there.
If I have ever seen a Setsuko augment, it is this Golden Quest augment. Setsuko is the best 1st or 8th player in the entire world, often playing a lot of these fortune augments. Does roll past it here in this early stages of the game because he wants to play some Kog'Maw.
Yeah, unfortunately just kind of has to. Like if Setsuko was playing a more typical style of TFT when it comes to, you know, pushing levels and not this reroll, Setsuko would have been very tempted by that, I believe, when it comes to that go big or go home play style. Setsuko goes big.
And he's got a lot of these upgraded units already here that he's rolled for on level 6. And so that 2-star Kog'Maw and a couple 2-star Bastions in the front line will help this composition succeed. Facing Cosmo on the other side will slam the... and this is going to be a pretty interesting mid-game for Setsuko, hoping that they can win as much as possible while rolling for these units.
Yeah, big dominant round win versus Cosmo there. Looking like that board is pretty strong so far, at least, as we see Milk going up against On. Milk having some portal action early, just arrives with one bow, but not able to take out On there.
Yeah, not quite. Staying pretty healthy is Milk in Toronto, Tokyo. Toronto, Tokyo now on that 4-round win streak. But this is going to be a very unique adaptation from Milk. It looks like he's playing Fast 8, playing around some of these super tank lineups, using that Mogul's Mail effectively. And it's going to be very interesting to keep our eye on to see how Milk plays that.
Mumu trying to roll for more upgrades, but might be rolling a bit too deep. Does, of course, have all the upgrades on the front line besides the Mordekaiser.
Something interesting in this lobby is I'm surprised to not see Milk hard forcing a single composition. If you remember when he went to Worlds, I think it was back in set 5, right? Set 6 maybe?
Yeah, it was 5.
When Kled was such a thing, he played Kled every single game of Worlds and played it very effectively, making it to the finals. But even here in EWC, being a pretty flexible here, at least in this game 1 of this match.
Yeah, I think in the team format, you kind of have to be flexible. Because if your teammate's just in a better spot than you, you're not going to want to grief your teammate, right? You're going to be like, all right, I guess I'll play something else. But Milk in that, you know, set 5 world championships and Reckoning was very much like, no, me, Kled, 20 out of 20, literally no scout, no pivot. I am going this composition and made it to the final lobby, made it all the way to 3rd place. And almost won. Yeah, the power of Milk when he locks in on a strategy. He's very, very kind of well known for doing that. Right? I guess I'll play something else. But Milk in that, you know, set 5 world championships and Reckoning was very much like, no, me, Kled, 20 out of 20, literally no scout, no pivot. I am going this composition and made it to the final lobby, made it all the way to 3rd place. And almost won. Yeah, the power of Milk when he locks in on a strategy. He's very, very kind of well known for doing that.
We're seeing here, I would love to go back and look at Soju's spot here because it is a very, very strong one. Looking at Spell Blades alongside this Syndra, already having a Nami in shop as well, rolling for some of these Vanguard upgrades. This is the spot of dreams on this patch, having nearly perfect item Syndra, now having 2 Spears of Sojin alongside this Nashor's Tooth. This is looking quite good for Team Vitality's chances in this game.
Yeah, 100%. Soju A fantastic opener here. Nami is one of those units that is kind of hard to find on level 7 and sometimes even level 8. Once you roll it down, you just, you know, don't hit the 4 cost you're looking for. Don't get that 3 mage with that Eldritch in time. But Soju, like, look at this. Just a couple of auto attacks and then another cast from each Syndra. And it is going to be such a big win here for Soju again versus On.
Yeah, need to keep getting those stacks on Learning to Spell, need to keep getting those stacks on the Syndra casts. And many of these players are playing this composition. Milk, we see finding an early Karma here, so already has a little bit of stabilization, at least in direction, going to level 8. But El Mumu with that Syndra that's now hitting this new power level and has 6 of them.
Yeah, I think there was a duplicator on that bench too, so 7 effectively, as well as Cosmo is still playing this kind of frontline tank Kog'Maw. Does go into the back line now, but Cosmo extremely rich. However, 60 gold, level 7. That's part of the power of that patient study.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the free gold and free value that comes from that. We'll be going to that level 8 here on 4-2 as a few of our players are, and be able to roll down there for their upgrades. We've seen that be successful in some of our games for sure. If enough people are going level 8, the tempo of the lobby is not super high, and they have the time to get those 2 stars, it usually works out pretty well. But then there's also players like K3 Soju in this lobby that absolutely dominate this mid game with Syndra or some of these other rerolls like Setsuko's on as well.
Yeah, Setsuko down to 11 gold, has 5 copies of Cog. Looking at the other side there, that's 6 copies from On. Gonna want to hit first, is still rolling each and every turn, at least down to 10 gold. Not wanting to fall behind in that Cog race really is going to set this comp up for success.
Yeah, he's also rolling a little bit for these charms, right? He wants to get these items online from his first augment as soon as possible. You get that max of 4 components, and so I believe he's probably close to there in this game, using those rerolls to get as many of those as possible.
Yeah, wanting to get that Nunu into that big tanky form very early on. Have some potential Tristana items as well. Not really great ones to slam here, however, as there's another Kog'Maw, the Jinx, component Anvil for 4 gold. Yep, I think that's pretty worth it.
Definitely taking that. Totally worth it. Rolling probably all the way to 0 here. Seeing what these items could be made of, wanting to make that 3-item Nunu for sure, and then try to get some Tristana or Jinx items alongside that.
Yeah, what item does Setsuko want to make here? He could make a Dragon's Claw, could make just another Gargoyles, and then save the other item for a Even Shroud. Looks like Even Shroud might be in Setsuko's future. Not slamming it yet, however.
We see Soju on the other side, already at level 7, trying to keep up this win streak. Nami too, though, with another copy on bench, and so he is setting himself up well in this game. Not quite having Mage in yet, needs to find that Vex, but a big loss for Setsuko, who was the other win streaker in this lobby.
Wow, yeah. Soju rolled a decent amount on level 7, it seems like. Not being set up to go level 8, but doesn't really need to. That Nami and that Syndra holding a lot of power. Soju on a 5-win streak as we get a prismatic augment for our final augment of game number 1.
Milk getting support Golem 2 is so good for him. Now able to empower this front line with that Locket and the Knight's Vow, giving some of that healing as well, but needs to find these important units. Has a lot of AP items slammed, but needs to find someone to carry them. Finds the Karma finally, and another one in shop is a great option for him. Selling the front line, going to be going with that Vex.
Yeah, we see a 4 Chrono Karma here for Panda, it seems like. The camera is baiting us there. This is not Milk.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, but still for Panda, very, very solid pickup. Going to not have that blue buff, but we do have Monazane. Is that going to be going on to this Karma? Yes, in fact it is. Probably alongside that red buff and the death cap.
Another support Golem across the way for Setsuko, who is still rolling to 0 for these Kog'Maws and these Nunus, and not quite finding what he's looking for. But it is a better support Golem for Setsuko, it would appear to me, with that Spite that's newly buffed, and with that gem to give some late fight power that this Kog'Maw needs.
Ooh.
And not quite enough there, but it should be something that people keep their eye out for in this lobby.
Yeah, very close fight there between Panda and Setsuko. That death cap on the Bard, I guess, made the difference there at the end of the day. Taking a look now at Milk, finding, wow, roll the dice being picked up for that Radiant Thieves Gloves on a Fiora 2, a Karma 2 picked up as well. The front line is the only concern, but at least for now it is shored up by these target dummies. See exactly how much work this Fiora can do with that Radiant TG.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of good frontline items, but we're just missing that Nasus too. And this board, I'm glad this is actually Milk's spot and not the other one as an NA fan, because there's a lot of 2 stars on this board from the carries. Just need to upgrade this front line, and has really good items across the board.
Yeah, wow, that Fiora nearly one-tapped the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw living just on a sliver of HP. Still did fall very soon after, however. El Mumu taking a chunk out of On there with that Radiant Spear of Shojin. Red buff and Gunblade pretty much best in slot here. Is one Syndra away from Syndra 3 because the Duplicator is still on the bench.
And the reason we see Setsuko rolling so aggressively here in this game is because On is directly contesting on this line, and it has a lot of these copies as well. But if Setsuko hits first, it's much easier. It's much easier to hit before the other person, right? And so wants to get those Kog'Maws and those Nunus out of the way before On can get them.
Yeah, 100%. As we see, actually, Cosmo has a Camille 2 somehow. Perhaps a charm making that happen. But for now, seeing if El Mumu is able to hit.
El Mumu still on level 6, still rolling for the Syndra 3 that is so contested in this game. Has that lesser duplicator, so only needs one more. Finds the Nami in shop. Curious to see if they'll drop the 4 Vanguard in favor of that. Will not look like it's going to be the choice, but has the most powerful item in the game, that is that Radiant Spear of Sojin on one of the most powerful units in the game.
Last second swap over to left hand side here. Maybe the Galio's tanky enough, but it is going to be Soju that he is facing, and Soju found Galio 3. Or unless maybe it was just upgraded temporarily with the charm, probably more likely.
Yeah, that's what it looked like when the fight started. I believe that is the case, but Soju's on a 7-round win streak, hoping to continue here. Got through that declaw on the front line, and the CC coming through from the Nami is massive. El Mumu is in trouble here, and so is MSJ.
Ooh, Callista 2, however, from Cosmo, putting in some good work alongside that very tanky front line with Nico 2. We got Rakan 2. We got the Camille 2 as well.
It's a really good looking board, especially at this point in the game, and kind of the power of that patient study that we were talking about. Didn't have to spend the gold as much on leveling, but instead can use that gold to roll. You see here on the bottom of our screen, Cosmos rerolling 30 times on this level 8, which is quite good.
Yeah, Cosmo rocking that giant and mighty, so these frontliners are still very, very tanky. Going to be buying a lot of time for Callista to be dealing all of that damage. This is the kind of peak form of this board, but Fiora's in the back line.
Fiora trying the best to take care of that Callista, but doesn't quite bring it down. The Callista's still surviving, but the Fiora on the last breath able to take down that Callista, and that's going to make the difference in this fight. Milk, though, still taking a loss because this Camille is jumping all the way around.
Oh yeah, Camille putting in some good work here, even though the backline carry was kind of assassinated there by Fiora. As we do reach the Raptors on 7 loss streak, Setsuko 5 loss streak, but
Finally.
Kog'Maw is in the shop and he can buy it. However, that is going to be the only upgrade that he has found.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be disaster then for On as well. At the 7 loss streak, 7 HP left. And Setsuko finally hitting that Kog'Maw is exactly what he needs to continue to try to keep himself in this game and gain a couple more placements.
Yeah, still rolling to try to deny more. It looks like that's why he was rolling before the round had shifted over. Getting that Bramble, getting a Jinx too. Not too shabby, denying a few Syndras as well. Setsuko looks like, at least for now, is one out in this battle of the Kog'Maws. Even if he goes 7th, right, and On goes 8th, it will have been worth it. Wanting to get just a few more placements, however, as On has hit Nunu, Kog'Maw, and Tristana.
Yeah, that did not stop him at all from taking his spot and grabbing all of these upgrades. But this is the story we've seen so often here at the Esports World Cup. You roll for this Kog'Maw, you finally hit at 7 HP, and then you run into a board like this with a Mana Zane Karma across the way, and it's not even going to be enough. It looks like this Cosmo's going to lose because the Nora puddle, they're just standing in it.
Wow. Yeah, close fight. But On able to win it.
Wait, did he take damage? I'm confused.
No, On. Oh, wait. On.
I thought he lost.
On won.
Oh, he won.
On won.
Oh.
Yeah, the Jinx was left alive on the right hand side there.
Oh, didn't even see that Jinx down there.
She's hiding in the corner. He did take Desperate Plea though. It seemed like, so even if he had lost, would have survived at 1 HP. But no, El Mumu here on MSJ dropping a single digit. Panda not too far behind. As MSJ look at these HP totals, are definitely in trouble.
I mean, and if this is the case, that this is the final standings with Panda On and El Mumu dropping out in 6, 7, 8, that is definitely a loss here in game number 1. But they're going to be able to regroup for a game number 2 if that is the case, and it's looking that way. This Syndra, though, is quite powerful with that Radiant Spear Sojin. We've seen it perform super well throughout this tournament, is deleting a lot of the units. The Dragon Claw does take a really long time to get through, but it will be able to take down this Kalista and end his teammates' win streak.
Oh, 3 eliminations happening on Panda and then Setsuko. Setsuko manages to get a 6th, and that's huge. It means that now MSJ need exactly a 1st and 2nd place. And CLE, I don't know if that's in the cards for them here.
I'm not thinking so. El Mumu's board is kind of strong right now, but not the strongest you've ever seen for sure. Setsuko really did do his job, right? We've talked about this so much in 4v4. As the direct competitor of On, being able to place 2 spots above him is exactly what Team Vitality needs in order to win each of these rounds. We see Milk on the other side, now with more upgrades. That really important Nasus 2 is so strong, but without a Dragon Claw, this AP stacking from Soju is so much damage.
Yeah, El Mumu really need to be seeing if they win or lose this round, because if El Mumu loses... Dude. Yeah, wow. Soju's Syndra popping off. El Mumu did win. All right, that's big. MSJ's hopes are still alive. On Tokyo and Milk here taking a loss. Cosmo winning out their round as well. There's Witchcraft Emblem. Preserver as well.
Witchcraft Emblem? Yeah, there's a lot of good options here. Witchcraft is not the choice for Milk, but instead going for the Vertical Preserver instead. The Incanter Emblem also is a great one. Doesn't look like, I think Milk was our Witchcraft player, so will not be going that direction. Soju will be going for more tanks to keep that front line more sustained for the Syndra.
Yeah, Milk's board gonna be looking very, very strong after that additional Preserver. And Cantor, however, for El Mumu, only gonna be at 3, however, unless they find another unit to play. But not that much gold.
Incanter on an Elise 1.
Yeah, pretty good.
Best in slot for sure.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll try it in some of the games and I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Maybe when you get 1st place, get back to me. So we'll never be hearing from you again.
Wait, Spider Queen?
Oh, okay. Wait a minute.
Spider. Anyway, we're gonna move on from that though. As the Eldritch unit comes flying in from the side, we see that school mascot doing an excellent amount of work, but this Galio is so unkillable with the amount of resistances alongside that Syndra, absolutely shredding the enemy team. El Mumu is putting a good showing here. If Cosmo can get it together, which he does beat Soju's board as well, MSJ is a shot.
Wait a minute. Maybe this is not as doomed as I was making it out to seem here. El Mumu obviously being on level 7 is a bit disadvantaged, right? But they are recovering their econ, maybe putting themselves in a position where they can go to level 8. Varus to upgrade for Cosmo. They are running this 5 Pyro Varus Callista kind of duo carry. this is quite the board here for Cosmo. Really, really good stuff here from him to make this work.
I think one of the problems with this composition, though, is the lack of items on this Varus. We have good tank items across the board. A Camille 2 is absolutely huge, but this Varus with the 5 Pyro is not going to do as much as we would hope. But will Soju be able to eliminate El Mumu here? Will they be able to save Vitality's chance in this game? The Galio has fallen down, and now onto the Syndra in the backline. It does fall down, and with it, El Mumu, Vitality taking game 1 with the dominant performance from that early Syndra from Soju.
Yeah, Soju, Toronto, Tokyo, still very healthy. Milk as well, doing great at going in that fast 8 direction. Setsuko just being that sacrifice, but he did his job. That is a very well-earned 6th place, right? That's a 6th that you feel real good about if you are Setsuko.
Milk, Toronto, Tokyo, Cosmo, and K3 Soju wrapping out your top 4 in this game, as Vitality, knowing that they've won game 1, can relax a little bit and mentally prepare for game 2 while trying to close out this game. It's always fun to be able to put a nice little signature on the game by getting the win, though, so each of these players will be trying for that.
Yep, definitely. Can't FF, I don't believe.
Eldritch.
Well, we have 7 Eldritch. We have the Big Bear coming in with that Infinity Force and Death Cap. Love to see it. Toronto, Tokyo making this composition look very, very strong, which it is, of course. Getting that Shiv for Syndra as well, a little bit of that attack speed, a little bit of that shred.
Yeah, a pretty good item on that Syndra, especially when it's kind of like a secondary carry, because this school mascot seems to be the real carry in this comp. You're able to have all of these different units doing all these different kinds of damage. The Karma as well, giving a lot of that AoE damage. And then the giant CC that comes through from this huge bear. But it might not be enough to beat this 5 Pyro board that just has so many resources and so many stats.
Yeah, and also that execute range.
Oh,
hold up, wait a minute. It does beat it just narrowly at the end there. Varus stun locking himself in that cast animation is so rough.
Yeah, I'm sure this is something that the balance team is looking into. Varus's problem is not really anything to do with his design as much as it's just his cast time is so incredibly long, so just not quite able to get the whole cast off, which would have won that round.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Cosmo. Of course, doesn't really have any larger impact on this match or on this series, but, you know, still, just for fun here, as Vitality's Milk looks to be the next person to challenge Cosmo.
This Preserver board is quite strong. 5 Preserver is a lot of healing for this team, especially for those with Preserver in their trait web. And so this Karma is trying their best to kill units, but without any kind of single target damage source and really just AoE from Milk, it's really quite difficult to take down any of these tanks.
Yeah, Cosmo looking to be the strongest in the lobby right now, it seems.
Which it's funny how much of a constant that kind of is in our games, right? We see the top 4 secured, the game win secured for a team, and then the other team coming back and taking the game win. It's something we've seen a significant amount of times.
Yeah, definitely. At least, I mean, definitely more than once. As maybe Vitality can close it out here. Soju being probably the next challenger. Rockin' still with that Syndra too, but does have a Xerath on the board now, saving that big champion duplicator. So perhaps hit that Xerath too a bit later.
Yeah, he's kind of waiting to see if he needs that win condition, probably rolling down to see if he needs to duplicate this 5 cost, this Nora, or maybe even that Tom Kench. And this is not even close at all with that Radiant Sojin now on board for Soju. I wonder if that's from a charm, though. It is. It goes away right now, but it's enough to take that round win.
Yeah, Milk does go down in 4th place. Cosmo in 3rd currently, did take that big loss in the last round. Going to be on 1 life remaining. Takes a Runeans.
Toronto Tokyo having that Briar 2 on board. All these Eldritch units are upgraded to 2 stars, so this school mascot is extremely strong. But I am so curious to know how much AP this Syndra has from learning to spell. all game long, killing so many units.
Yeah, maybe we can get that number if production is so kind, but that is so much AP on that unit, right? Soju came out the gates swinging, had such a good opener to this lobby. Syndra's doing so much damage, and
Whoa.
that's a lot of Melios. Okay, all right.
And he has a duplicator on bench. I'm kind of down.
Yeah, sell
Yeah,
board.
do it.
Might as well, right? You already won the match. Melio 3.
If Cosmo falls out here, I think he'll probably do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, surely. Right.
I mean, the king of content for TFT, surely he knows the entertainment value that can provide.
But no. He's a competitive player. He's not a content creator, right? Not just your influencer. Yeah.
No, yeah, sure, yeah.
That's what he'll say to you. You know. He's a competitor.
He does both.
He does.
You know,
balances them very well.
sure,
Didn't take. Oh, actually, this is Cosmo. Okay, maybe Soju did take. We'll see.
I'm so curious to know. We'll be holding that Tom Kench on bench to try to troll Soju, who was looking for a 2-star version of that. But Soju looking to absolutely take away MSJ's victory lap. Cosmo, with this really strong board, now dropping down to 4 Pyro, is an interesting decision late in this game.
Yeah, 5 Pyro is kind of why this composition is very strong. Getting all that extra attack speed, getting that increased execution range threshold. But gonna be going up against Soju here. Maybe Soju's able to clean the floor yet again.
Yeah, I mean, this Syndra has so much AP, and throughout the game has been stacking up. Toronto Tokyo will stay alive as well, so we will be continuing on with this fight. We see a Xerath 2 come through. We see the duplicator used on the Nora. Soju's board is so incredibly strong, and I don't think Toronto Tokyo will have anything to say about it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Soju's front line is looking a little bit suspicious, and he's actually just gonna sell board, which
he's gonna lose to Crab.
Yeah, he is gonna lose to Crab. Boom. That, you know, Crab charge.
1v1 here for the final fight of the game. Maybe they'll all roll down for some crazy units here. Soju not doing anything.
He's
just
chilling.
kind of waiting.
Yeah, Vitality already did win the game. It would have been fun if they like did a challenge where they both sold board and then had to build a new board and see how good they could get and see kind of who one of those
can roll faster.
Yeah, exactly. A little APM test, a little 30-second build your best board with 90 gold kind of challenge. But yeah, Toronto Tokyo, they're just talking out the strategies of this game, maybe talking about what they are going to be doing in the next one to close out this series in a 2-0, because they did 2-0 KC, one of the tournament favorites, looking to do that here again against MSJ, and they're looking strong here in game number 1.
Yeah, an excellent showing by them. Really dominant too, going 1, 2, 4, 6 in this lobby. It was not very close between the two teams. And you see MSJ here needing to talk out some strategy and see what they can do in this next game to be force a game 3 and force a big comeback.
Yeah, definitely. I think there is the potential of MSJ, right? They already proved that they can go toe-to-toe with the Greats come out on top when it came into their matchup against Twisted Minds yesterday. This game, however, really seems lacking. They just seemed kind of a step behind in every single category, even with that kind of Kog'Maw contest from Setsuko and on. And it seemed to be the case in the rest of the game for the other players as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fantastic game, and we're going to be looking at some highlights now to recap our game. We saw very early on a lot of this contention happening between the Kog'Maws, and in that fight, the Rabadon's making the difference.
Yeah, definitely. And we see the power as well of the augments, such as School Mascot, Toronto Tokyo, able to pilot that all the way to a first, right? And then players like El Mumu, they did hit Syndra 3, did hit that Radiant Shojins, right? Such a powerful item, but not being able to make it into the top 4, unfortunately. With that in mind, it just goes to show that, hey, Syndra doesn't just like auto win the game. You still have to have a solid game plan. You still have to preserve HP throughout the game and be able to push levels still to cap out your board.
Yeah, and although Soju's Syndra did not end up winning the game, it was so incredibly strong with all of the learning to spell stacks throughout the game. Spellblades on top of that to use that AP well even after the cast. It was a wonderfully executed game by Vitality. Setsuko playing his role well, and MSJ needs to have a big comeback.
Yeah, they really do. MSJ just one game away from being sent into the losers bracket, right? We are back in the upper bracket right now. All of these players coming off of wins. Vitality just one game away from advancing, and they would feel so good about that, right? Going into playoffs with that 4-0 record.
Yeah, will Vitality go undefeated in this winners round and go off to the playoffs? Will we see a game number 3? That is the question that we will answer next game. And so we will be sending to a quick break and be back for game number 2 of this group.
New adventures bring new challenges. Even as the heat rises, dandruff and grease won't stand a chance. With new Clear Men, powered by triple formula technology. To eliminate dandruff, itch, and grease, gives you 8 hours of freshness and 100% dandruff-free hair. New Clear Men, 0% dandruff, 100% confidence.
Will Team Vitality take the top spot in this group with a 4-0 record? Or will MSJ be able to pull off another miraculous upset? We will be here with game number 2 in this match. Vitality up 1-0.
Yeah, and it was a very dominant first game from Team Vitality. Every single step of the way, they seem to be ahead of MSJ. So MSJ has to go back to the drawing board and say, all right, maybe we can't go toe-to-toe with this Kog'Maw reroll. What else can we do? Do we have to go for these very, risky strategies? Do we have to just kind of all in a reroll line? Maybe pray that you're uncontested, but it's going to be really hard to do that. So MSJ really got to be coming out here swinging to make this into a game 3 and send Vitality down into that loser's bracket.
Yeah, something I'll be on the lookout for is some of these early emblems that we've seen be so incredibly powerful in shaping the way that people play these games. Witchcraft emblem, portal emblem, even pyro emblem being something that has shown flashes of being super powerful. Something that MSJ is going to need to pull off in this game. Yeah,
I think if you see flexible, if you see branching out, any opportunities to get these emblems, you're like, yeah, might as well just take it. Because maybe we just need a high roll at this point to land ourselves in a good spot. It has happened before, right? You can just high roll. It is TFT, a game of variance. You'll get that for 2 games in a row, and all of a sudden, boom, you're moving on into that playoffs bracket. So something that is definitely well within the reach of MSJ. They can still play the game, regularly, I suppose, as well. They have proven that they can do it against the best. But Team Vitality, man, just looking so locked in. Every single player, right? We talk about how when Soju's in peak form, he's really good. When Milk is in peak form, he's really good. But also, Toronto, Tokyo, and Setsugo are just going to be very consistent. And so we have another video for some words from Vitality. So let's take a look at that before we get into our game number 2.
I'm Casanova here at EWC with Team Vitality's K3 Soju. And Soju, I just want to ask you a couple questions here starting off. Playing in a high stakes tournament or streaming to the yappers in Twitch chat, which is harder in terms of dealing with, mental preparation and dealing with the pressure?
Streaming, solo queue is just kind of like mindless. You don't really care about improving as much. But I think in a team environment, you don't want to be the one that lets everyone down or be the weak link. So it's definitely more stressful, but it's also more fun.
All right, your team was recently acquired by Vitality. How has it been playing for the org?
It's been great. The org is really nice. It's not like I was paid it's like a paid ad or anything. They're super. It just feels like you're part of the team, and we're excited to hopefully represent them well. So.
Your team has a lot of big personalities, of course, but you're also all friends, and I was curious how the team dynamic works in this 4v4 format.
I think me, Milk, Setsugo were close before we joined Vitality, and we were pretty fortunate to get Toronto. We all respect him as a player, and he actually meshes with the team really well.
How has Set 12 been for you so far? What do you think of Charms? What do you think of the new champions?
I think this is the first set that I did play PvE, only because of this tournament going on. I usually don't play too much PvE, but I think I was a little skeptical at first, but I think going back closer to vanilla TFT has been a good step. There is some balance issues around certain units, but at the end of the day, I'm super appreciative that we're kind of going towards more less variance. And
what are your thoughts on the 4v4 format of EWC?
I think for 4v4, you basically, in most solo tournaments, you're playing 6-game sample size most of the time. But I think in 4v4, there's a lot of, you're basically playing 4 games at once with how the points tally up. And I think usually the better team will win. There are spots where people do high roll and they kind of scam placements from your team. But at the same time, there's a lot of room for squeezing out extra placements. So I think there's actually not nearly as much variance in 4v4. It's also just a lot of fun. I think scrimming 12 hours a day is exhausting, but at the end of the day, we're all excited to wake up the next day to practice more. So.
All right, well, Soju, you said that you feel like your team is one of the favorites. Who do you think is the biggest threat in this tournament?
I don't know what other teams are saying, but I would not be surprised if they all point at the same. I think they have been dumpstering everyone in scrims. The Falcons, they're insane. I think all individually they're good. I think they have a good 4v4 meta read. I think they're the favorites, but I think individually, individual skill-wise, I think we can be better, so.
Sweet. All right, well, thank you so much for the interview, Soju. Before I let you go, do you have any shout-outs for your fans at home?
Yeah, sorry for not streaming for 2 months. Me and Setsugo both took 2 months off to practice, and hopefully we play more than 4 games. We don't get 2-0 twice, so.
All right, thank you so much for the interview, Soju, and good luck in the EWC.
Thank you.
Well, they might not play more than 4 games on the first 2 days because they're dominating so far. And in this 4th game, it may be the deciding factor of whether or not they go through to the playoffs here at the EWC and specifically TFT 4v4 tournament here.
Yeah, hopefully they don't get 2-0 twice. Well, that is not the case, as they are 3-0 so far in this event. 2-0, of course, versus KC, and 1-0 so far versus MSJ. Just one more round gets them in to that playoff bracket. But we got to hear a lot of perspective there from Soju about how 3 of them were very good friends, and they kind of brought Toronto Tokyo onto this roster, kind of catching up to speed, making them feel a part of that squad, part of that team, as of course the organization of Vitality treats them very well. And as Soju showed us, that is not a paid advertisement, okay? Vitality good, and you love to hear that from him.
Yeah, no paid ad there as our players are getting ready here on stage for this game number 2. For MSJ, what do they need to do here in this game in order to secure their spot in a game 3, giving them that redemption chance?
Yeah, so Soju just talked about it in that interview, the saying like usually the better team will win unless maybe there's some like crazy high roll situations. You can control the variance a lot more in this 4v4 format. And so I think it is just going to be MSJ have to try to repeat the same success they did yesterday. Maybe Team Vitality is just stronger than Twisted Minds, right? I'm sure all of their members on Team Vitality would think that, but maybe like we were saying earlier, MSJ has to maybe go for that high variance, saying that, okay, maybe Vitality is stronger, but RNG still exists, right? This variance is still gonna be a factor, and we can use that in our favor.
Yeah, and one of the things as well as we keep our eye on this last matchup is Twisted Minds is up 1-0 on KC. One of those strong teams will be out of the tournament here, and it's going to be a shocking event. And then the loser of this match will have a chance to make it to the playoffs versus the winner of that matchup, who will be coming back for vengeance. I am sure of it.
KC being 0-3 in this event, that is crazy. But on the other side, of Vitality, of course, being 3-0, looking to make it 4-0 here as we get into game number 2 of Team Vitality versus MSJ. Team Vitality could just close it out here with a 2-0.
And this will be the start of this game. We're looking at Pot of Gold as the portal that was chosen. I'm sorry. It will not have any effect until later on in this game, where a large influx of gold will help cap out some of these boards if you are alive.
Yeah, there's a lot of terminology in TFT nowadays. There's portals, there's augments, there's charms. There's so much to keep track of, honestly, especially with all of the new additions to all of those things. There's a lot to have to keep your tabs on, as Toronto Tokyo is looking to play an early multi-striker board, perhaps.
Yeah, really good spot for that. This glove is an important part of this composition because of QSS, but also in this composition is that Akali that uses those really well, and also TG is really good in this composition. So all of this could be a good sign for Toronto Tokyo and Vitality.
Yeah, 100%. Gonna be holding on to this Tristana and Zillion as well, as wow, looking over at Elmumu's shop. That is very, very good. Syndra pair, sword as well, half of his Shojins, exactly what you want to see. And maybe that is the winning ticket for MSJ, is just have all the members find a Syndra too.
Yeah, that would be a way to win for sure, and especially if you get dropped a tier here, able to slam Sojin would be a really good sign. And where Soju was at last game with that early Syndra, and we saw that power translate into late game success here as really good items do come through.
Yeah, I actually do think it's ever so slightly grief to field 2 Syndras there, because you're going to want one to build up those stacks, because when it upgrades, right, the stacks maintain, and so just extra damage coming out from the secondary Syndra, not too big of a deal, right? But you always want to be thinking about those slight micro decisions.
2 healthy is excellent on this board as well. Replication is interesting. You could slam that red buff also if you get a bow, but instead looking at pumping up or 2 healthy, we'll go with 2 healthy to run on this board.
Yeah, I was looking at that Wandering Trainer being like maybe one of the routes of, hey, you high roll, maybe get, Incanter, Witchcraft,
Right.
something like that, some crazy stuff, and MSJ could pilot that to a victory. However, it is just going to be too healthy, looking for that consistency. MSJ do think they can be the better players, and now it is time for them to prove it.
Wow. And Setsuko looking to play towards this Akali, having Stars Are Born, which gives you that automatic upgrade of a 2-cost. And he's going to be hitting a gold breakpoint here if he wins, which he will win with this item slammed on the Akali for sure. And deal damage to El Mumu, but also help him reach that 10 gold checkpoint.
Yeah, that's really, really big, actually. Stars Are Born, an augment that only saw a little bit of success for a brief period, at least in the Americas, but there is potential in this set for it to work very well with all the re-rolling that is going around. It could just be used for tempo, but knowing that Setsuko did lean towards that re-roll line last game with that Kog'Maw, he might be looking for a similar thing here again, going into that multi-striker route.
When Soju is playing the full open fort strategy that we saw have a good amount of success earlier on in the day and throughout this tournament, doing those early loss streaks is really good for your team. It guarantees and just really establishes that role within your team, and only taking a 3-unit loss is pretty good here on 2-2.
Yeah, On was posturing to go Kog'Maw yet again, it seems, had found those early units. Milk, by the way, has Gambler's Blade on the Syndra, and even slamming Guard Breaker, right? Not an item that we see slammed on Syndra very often at all, especially not as a first item, but Milk wanting all of that power right now.
Yeah, he does have that remover on bench, so knows that he will be able to move it at some point in this game, and so that will be a helpful guarantee to get those mana items back onto that Syndra. And we see the also powerful Syndra 2 coming into this game here early for El Mumu.
Yeah, El Mumu fielding two 2-cost units, getting a little bit of that 2's healthy value. Probably just going to upgrade this Syndra at the last second. Not wanting to... wanting to go on that full loss as well.
And maybe not wanting to hurt his teammate too bad either.
True.
That seems to be the tactical choice. Obviously wanting to proc that scapegoat, but also don't want to kill the units too fast to get rid of some of the procs from Syndra and the cast from Syndra also. And also doesn't want to win by too many units to keep his opponent healthy.
Definitely. It makes a lot of sense always in hindsight, but like my brain is so hardwired for 1v1v1 TFT that I'm like, oh, you just should do this, like straight up. But it's like, oh wait, in team format, it changes the game. You don't always want to do those things that you're so like hardwired into doing as a TFT player.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure he wouldn't have mind losing there as well, just to continue to get that pick priority, but still is first pick. Will complete that Spear of Sojin for him, which is one of the best items alongside that Rage Blade. So that's a lot of stacks that will be counting up on El Mumu Syndra.
Yeah, we have Panda with an early Vigar Rage Blade. It looks like not a unit that we have seen have a ton of success so far, and probably just an item carrier as well, as Rage Blade is a pretty bad Vigar item. But yeah, just gonna be trying to stave away these losses, have them not be too bad, as we do have a Wukong in the front line. A lot of gold on the bench is gonna sell up to 20 here, however.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of MSJ is playing sort of that passive econ-based style. We see all of them staying level 4 besides Cosmo right now, where for Vitality, Toronto, Tokyo, and Setsuko are really trying to push the tempo in this lobby, try to get themselves in a spot where they can early win streak.
Definitely Toronto, Tokyo looking to make this 3 streak into a 4.
Wow, it's
Setsuko, yeah, very strong. You got upgraded Neela alongside a Jax and an Akali, having that hand just slammed on Akali as well. It's going to be making quick work of Panda's board.
Now we know the thing that Setsuko is really hoping for is that multi-striker emblem to be able to put that onto an Akali. But El Mumu, you see the power already from this itemization on a Syndra 2. He's going to be chilling for a long time. Ooh, we might be going some portal action here for Cosmo.
Yeah, not being able to run that six portal quite
playing
yet,
flexible.
but is playing flexible. Vanguard is going to be online now with that Taric. I mean, maybe flexible does give portal emblem at some point. We've seen a lot of success out of that composition today, specifically from our earlier match with Bobe running it to a couple of top fours in our second match of the day. Maybe going to be going in the same direction here as Cosmo.
Yeah, that would be their hope as they approach the next stage. Is if they can get that portal emblem, it unlocks a world of possibilities for them. And this is not looking too great for Setsuko here in this matchup. That Zoe's doing a lot of damage, and the early forecast is proving to be quite powerful. And then Neela not doing that much damage here, barely staying alive. The Ashe trying its best to take it down, and Setsuko's streak is over.
Wow, yeah, that Zoe just barely survived and was able to deal all the damage. God, this board is so crazy with all the maids running around and you get those animations. It's always distracting to me, actually.
Yeah, I could never do it. I have like the most boring arena of all time. I don't want your fancy music or the maids around sweeping. Just give me the base TFT. Kind of like Kiyun, who uses just the regular sprite with the base arena.
Yeah, right. I do personally, the base arena, do like kind of that Fates aesthetic with like that like Lotus Blossom kind of vibe going on there.
Oh,
It's just
yeah,
chill.
that's nice.
It's a good vibe, right? But right, all that stuff going on though, nah, not for me.
Toronto Tokyo finding a jeweled gauntlet to go alongside this Hand of Justice. Could be an interesting play later on. We are playing too healthy as well for Toronto Tokyo, so needing to play these 2 costs in order to get some of that extra HP on board, and looking like we might be going towards a Kog'Maw build, but these items, I don't know.
Gargoyle Stone Plate gonna be solid for Nunu. Hand of Justice on Tristana, I suppose, isn't the worst. We have half of a Last Whisper or Infinity Edge for the Kog'Maw, very far away from the Shojin, so I'm in agreement with you. After, breaking it all down, the items aren't amazing, but maybe they're playable.
Soju's now playing a board for the first time this game, and will be taking a pretty big loss here to 5 static shivs, I would imagine, as these often just delete backlines for fun. Will be killing a unit, which is pretty good for Soju, as probably his first unit kill in the game. As we look around the lobby and see some of this tempo, we know how important this 3-2 roll down often is, leveling to 6 and stabilizing these boards.
Yeah, our full open players sometimes have even said they're going to greed out, maybe go to 7 or 8. I think Soju is in a spot where he's likely to roll down at 6 here, but going to be curious to see what he does, because he could have pre-leveled the 6 there if he really wanted to. A golden quest with all of this gold, however, is interesting to consider, and he does take
He's
it.
doing it.
Oh yes, alrighty. 161 gold is the magic
man.
number before Soju gets a 2-starred legendary unit and 3 items for it.
And I don't believe Golden Quest increases anything about your interest.
No.
But he's gaining about 11 per round, maybe even more from that loss streak with interest. And so it will be a few rounds before he can get there. But I believe in Soju's skills as someone who's played this game for a long time, able to roll down quickly and find a board that stabilizes with that 5 cost when they can get there.
Yeah, gonna be a 6 loss streak, so that's plus 3 gold from that, getting 10 from Econ, so at least 13 gold per round. Maybe Charms will be able to make that go up a bit faster by the end of, stage 3, beginning of stage 4. Soju's gonna have that legendary unit online, and if it's a good one, he can definitely run away with the game. But I think if there is one bad one to get, it is Melio. Melio's best role is gonna be supporting other units, not really being the carry himself.
Yeah, you need something that's going to do some damage and really carry you through the later stages of this game, not be some sort of secondary carry or even a more supportive unit. Like a Morgana or a Diana or a Camille would be really ideal for Soju here on this board.
Yeah, Briar even perhaps going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe even a Zerath could work well. Nora and Yumi perhaps another one of those ones you want to dodge, but at least out of those 8 options, there are going to be, you know, 6 good ones. So the odds are in Soju's favor here, as he is on 104 gold currently.
Yeah, the nice thing about that is it does provide those 3 good tailored items for him as well. So doesn't have to really worry about where his items are at right now, but will just be able to play a very, very strong unit if they can get there. And also the problem is when you do get there, you're going to be at like 1, maybe 2 lives left.
Yeah, Soju 41 HP, and it's going to continue to plummet here. Not sure his losses are going to be very good at this point. Of course, next round will be at around 120 gold. He does pick up a 4 cost, pick up the Fiora. So plus 4 gold, every single bit of gold counts.
Yeah, and you can sell your whole board in order to hit that amount, and as soon as you hit it, you get that reward. So that's probably what he'll be going for. I don't believe this round, but maybe next round. Use the neutrals to try to stabilize his board as well and level up to level 7, maybe level 8.
Yeah, and then you got to utilize all that gold, right? You got to level up, roll it down, actually find a board that complements your legendary unit and stabilizes you in the game. Even just that legendary unit itself should be able to, you know, pay off very, very well as we get a chance to look at other players in this game. Panda looking to go for that Callista Flex board. This is a Mogul's Mail in the front line as well, but it's just on a Blitzcrank 1. That looks a little sad.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot because you want to be able to tempo with that Mogul's Mail. Use a super tank to get there, and that is not the situation. It does reforge into the perfect item for his board, though.
Yeah, very nice. Last Whisper and Rageblade on that Callista. And going up against El Mumu, who has had that very early Syndra 2, has been stacking it up so well.
Has spell blades as well now, which we saw show so much power in the last game on Soju's board as well. Soju down to 30 HP now, which is a few lives if he's able to hit it this turn.
Yeah, let's see. He's getting pretty close to it. We know and love the Soju special, right? It is go fast, you know, 8 or 9, roll a couple of times and die. But that is the thing of the past. Golden Quest is going to be a bit different. Yeah, it does have to wait another round. Has to take another loss here. But really want to see what comes out with that reward.
Hoping he can take a good loss here versus one of his teammates. Maybe only 6 units. Because most people in this lobby are still level 6. Only 1 player level 7. So hoping that he doesn't take too big of a loss and instead can still have 2 lives instead of just 1.
Yeah, meanwhile, Setsuko did hit that multi-striker emblem. Wow. And it is going to be on the Neela. This is huge for Setsuko.
Yeah, and has not really rolled any gold yet for these upgrades. At 50 gold right now, and will be able to hopefully hit multiple of these 3 stars to put him in a position to possibly even win this game.
Yeah, wins the round. Has 6 Kassadins, 6 Neelas, it looked like. And now we get a chance to look at Soju's gonna not sell the board. Right, yeah, he could hit it right now, but maybe wants to keep that Fiora. Which I don't blame him, right? It is going to be a lot of gold he has to spend in that next round, as he's going to push many, many levels and going to really be a testament to the APM check, right? A lot of actions have to occur, but is Soju cut out for it?
And he's hoping that this is a lot of gold in the bank so he can hit it right now. He sure does. What is this 5 cost?
Camille.
It is a Camille, which is quite good. We saw the power of that in a few games ago. He is going straight to level 8 and will roll all the way down. Probably playing this Witchcraft or maybe even Chrono board. Playing whatever he can get his hands on and upgraded.
Yup, it's going to be Fiora, Rise, Taric, Gwen, being the 4 costs of choice right now. But Anvil, he just rolls by. Even a Gwen upgrade would be massive. He's going to want to open up that item bench as well. Not finding many other upgrades. In fact, finding no other upgrades at all. But 3 items on Camille. And a Rise with Shojins is not bad.
Yeah, this Camille should be able to do a lot of damage. Versus Panda on the other side, that Nasus is quite hard to kill, but this Camille is making pretty quick work of it. The Edge of Night does proc, and the Nasus finally falls down right after the Rise gets the cast off. Camille going to be hopping around, but maybe clutch out this fight. Not quite.
No.
Soju down to 1 life now and really needs to figure it out.
Yeah, that was not really a round that Soju could afford to lose. Yes, he still has 1 life, but that just takes one poor matchup, right, for him to go down. Really needed to find another carry upgrade, be it the Rise, the Gwen, the something, as he's gonna have to continue to roll it down. But I'm the carry now, or movable object, actually. Movable object being rolled into, Gwen upgrade found. There is a breath of life here in this game for Soju.
Yeah, it'll help empower that Camille for sure, including all of the units that are able to be in this immovable object, giving them so many resistances to allow them to survive longer and longer into these fights. Continuing to roll down, the Fiora 2 is huge alongside this Gwen 2. This board is starting to look really good now, selling some of these other units to get multi-striker in.
Yep, that Callista does go onto the board. Now we're on
nice.
to a big frontline hit, as we have 3 multi-striker online. That Camille will be doing a lot more than last round, but the positioning, Soju has to make sure it doesn't get focused down. Does have the Edge of Night, but doesn't want to proc it too early. Gonna be going up against Melk here.
He might be wanting to go for Chrono as well, I would imagine, trying to find that Karma possibly in this board. Milk, knowing that this is his fate right now in this game, going against Soju's board with so many forecast upgrades. But this is a very important win. Needing this win to stabilize him at 8 HP. He has lost every round in this game up to this point, and now stabilized on 4-2.
Yeah, stabilized, but again, the 8 HP is very scary. On does fall in that round to El Mumu. Toronto Tokyo dropping pretty low as well. MSJ, look at the HP totals, right? El Mumu running away with the game, but everybody else out 58 HP or lower.
Yeah, we say pretty low, but that's still 44 HP in 7th place versus Soju's 8.
Yeah, true.
And so it is a very large gap between the two. But El Mumu, we knew this would be the case. He's having the game that Soju had last game, that early Syndra 2, able to 10 streak them through all of this mid game.
Arcana online now for Soju, gonna have that extra defense on this board.
Looking to hopefully get a Rage Blade on this Callista that would really empower this board. Having that 3 multi-striker in is quite powerful for upgrading that Callista and the Camille. The Camille, obviously that premier carry that he does have on his board.
Yeah, has a rod left over, so perhaps wanting to go towards that Rage Blade for the Callista. At this point, the Camille seems very strong. He did drop that Rise and put Shojin onto the Gwen. The Gwen does have a redemption though, so still a little bit awkward itemization, but Soju going to be able to potentially get that Karma if he wants it. However, yeah, it's just gonna be the bow. That Rage Blade is too powerful to pass up on.
Yeah, I believe that's probably the right choice just for the longevity of these fights. He might be able to roll with that Rise for... Oh, he already sold the Rise to play this Callista anyways, and so we'll be keeping that Zillion for Chrono and Preserver in. So playing lots and lots of traits. But zooming out a little bit, looking across our game, we do have some problems for the rest of Team Vitality. Milk in Toronto Tokyo on lost streaks alongside Setsuko, who is chilling towards the top. But there is no guarantees for Vitality in this game.
Yeah, well, the emblems have not really been kind to Cosmo, unfortunately.
No.
Now rolling down at level 8, the 2 Hunter being on a Poppy and an Ari2. You kind of hate to see that one, honestly, as Cosmo tries to desperately roll for some upgrades and not finding any of them. Just 1-star copies of those units. Meanwhile, we see the board of Setsuko, and it is so strong here with all these 3-star upgrades.
This could take out Soju here. This is a very strong board. It does look like this Akali will fall down in the back line, which is the thing that I was looking out for. If you're able to take down that Callista, what would happen here? But that really just proves Soju's power in this game. He may win out.
He very well could. It's going to be scary, but the potential is there.
No.
Toronto Tokyo with that Kog'Maw taking a loss on a 4-loss streak here. Definitely Ruffle
Milk
Mumu
as
still
well.
streaking.
Yeah, the upgrades need to come through here for Milk. Does hit that Syndra 3 that he's been playing for a long time, so the win-out angle is possible here. Really close to having both of those big Vanguards upgraded. Also, one off each of them, the Galio and the Mordekaiser.
Yeah, there is the second Mordekaiser on the board. Almost missed that one real quick. There is a Rumble in the shop as well that Milk will probably buy here soon. Going to try to reposition here.
Looks like Cosmo's in the middle of a pivot as well, putting these items onto a Tom Kench now instead of that Tarek in the front line, trying to figure out how to use these emblems effectively. Playing this Arcana route is quite good as well, but if you have that Arcana emblem, it unlocks a whole new level of true damage. Milk's board looking quite good here, maybe stabilizing alongside Soju at the bottom of this leaderboard.
Yep, Soju taking another win. Milk's having that loss streak. Toronto Tokyo also finding a big win. So there is a surge of life from Vitality here as Cosmo now dropping fairly low. Toronto Tokyo still 3 Kog'Maws off, but there's not even any items on this Kog'Maw, right? It's all the Tristana show.
Yeah, one might say that all of the members of Team Vitality are showing some vitality, their strength being shown here in this game, understanding the game plan, playing a little bit riskier in this game because they know they have the room to drop one if they need to, but now hoping that they can put the nail in the coffin and move on to the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely would not want to go to a game 3 situation, face all that stress. Toronto Tokyo leveling up here, trying to find a Jinx to slot into this board. There is another Kog'Maw, but not even rolling it, honestly, or not even grabbing it. It is really just not that prioritization here for that Kog'Maw line. What is the secondary carry going to be? Of course, you do have that Sentinel with literally the I'm the carry augment. So it's going to be providing a lot of damage now with that Death's Defiance now being upgraded.
It looks like he's come to terms with this is a Tristana carry board rather than this Kog'Maw. And also Toronto Tokyo knows that this is not his matchup. Soju is so incredibly strong and will be taking the round win almost assuredly. The Camille jumping around off the walls like crazy in this matchup.
Yeah, Toronto Tokyo even making his board a little bit weaker, right? Not slamming his Shojins, delaying the fairy charm being put onto that Tristana for a very long time. MSJ's Cosmo taking yet another loss here. Toronto Tokyo 6 HP, Cosmo 12. Soju 5 win streak, looking to make it 6 and looking to keep Vitality's hopes alive.
Yeah, he's now level 9, saved up enough gold, had enough confidence in his board to not drop a single round. Level 9 now, rolling for more of these 5 costs to keep this board in its winning ways.
Yeah, Soju greeting out. See if it does work out for him as Cosmo. Diana 2, a very big upgrade. Toronto Tokyo versus Cosmo, though, there might be elimination this round.
There very well might be. Oh, that is a giant shroud onto the entire team from Toronto Tokyo here. Not any kind of armor shred and hitting onto a bramble vest in the front line of Cosmo. Will this golden Tristana be enough to take down this 2-star 5 cost that is now into that back line? I doubt it. Toronto Tokyo will be dropping out here in 8th place, which means it's really likely that Vitality will need that top spot.
Another Kog'Maw game with that 8th place, right? Tick that one off of your bingo cards. El Mumu, meanwhile, has quietly been dominating this game. He's on a 3-loss streak right now, but they do have a big unit there in the front line. That Morgana, of course, with those 3 items. The Syndra has allowed him to get to this point. Really needs to start winning here again and kind of take on where Panda's doing with that 7 win streak.
And On was clearly on Toronto Tokyo grief duty, having so many of these Honeymancer units. We see on the other side this really strong Morgana that we were just talking about, But for El Mumu, not upgrading a lot of the rest of his board, he's really needing to find some of those things to send him into a place where he can win the game. He will win this round and maybe even knock out his teammate. Yes, it will be a 7th for On, which is good for Team Vitality, but is also good for their chances in this game. I believe Milk also falls down.
Yeah, Milk falls. Cosmo might be falling here as well. So 3
Oh, no.
eliminations happening. Where do they lie when the dust settles? It is going to be Milk actually crucially getting that 5th place. And so with an 8th.
The tiebreaker.
Yeah, exactly. 8th and a 5th for them.
And this will be, yeah, 8th and a 5th is pretty good for Team Vitality here. It keeps that score pretty even going into later stages of this game. But the problem is you have these 2 win streakers in the lobby, Panda and K3 Soju. Which of them will be strong enough to continue this streak when they face one another?
Yeah, 100%. Let's see it here. Soju, 7 streak. Panda, 8 streak. Setsuko, though, has redeemed himself with these rerolls.
Here's the thing in this game, because MSJ went that 7th and 6th place, they have to win this lobby in order to win. They need to go 1st and 4th at least in order to secure their spot and take a game 3, and Setsuko wants to play spoiler to that.
Yeah, Panda here versus Setsuko. Can the multi-strikers make it work here?
The Akali absolutely sold that round, jumping away from the Kalista that was the priority target, and Setsuko will drop down. Soju is the last hope for Team Vitality in this game. If Soju is able to win, I believe they will win this game.
Yep. All of Vitality's hopes and dreams rest on K3 Soju. This board is massive, but the upgrades aren't all here yet. And what does Soju do? Does he roll? Does he greet it out? Does he think he's strong enough? He gets that temporary Dragon's Claw, continues rolling, finds a pair of Callistas, and that's good, but not finding anything yet. Does sell out of that Morgana pair, so not finding upgrades.
We have to remember also that this is the pot of gold portal. All of this gold will be sent into the game at 6-1. Massive upgrades will come through, and so each of these players is waiting for that. But there is no room for error from K3 Soju at 8 HP. This comeback with the 8 win streak is massive. The Camille jumping around, doing its best to kill unit after unit, and is doing a wonderful job. But the Callista on the backline is completely untouched. The Edge of Night will proc on the Camille, which keeping it alive. And we need this Camille too for Soju. Clearly, the Camille able to clean up that fight and end Panda's win streak and keep Vitality alive. They will see the amount of gold.
Yeah, this is big for Soju because with all that gold, he is going to be able to roll for all these much needed upgrades. Callista 2, Tom Kench 2, Morgana 2, that might just seal the deal for this game. Soju lost 11 rounds in a row and is turning it around, needs to be winning 12-13 all the way to rubber band back into a first place to give Vitality this series win.
And remember, they get a lot of gold here at 6-1. Might even be able to go to level 10 and roll down there for some of these 5 costs. Playing Emilio would be really good for this board. Playing even a Tarek would be really good. He will be going level 10, getting all this gold, rolling as quick as possible, finding a Tarek, finding the Callista 2 that is so incredibly important.
Yeah, more upgrades need to come through, however. Shen upgrade potentially does throw that one in, takes the Tarek out. The Morgana upgrade is the next one that is going to be huge. Tom Kench as well, but he has sold out of that. Continuing to roll, has about 3 more rolls left, but he needs to position, needs to find his way. But it is a ghost board though, so it's looking pretty good for him as Pan and Amumu are facing each other.
Yeah, and no combat charm too for Soju. Will just be going for a little bit more econ to spike his board even more. This is MSJ versus MSJ on this board. Which will be stronger? Which of these boards will have a better chance to face off against K3 Soju? And clearly it's the Callista board that is stronger than El Mumu, who is level 10 here. But Soju just beat this board with a weaker board.
El Mumu did lock the charm. That is the 4,000 HP dragon, though, knowing that he's going to be facing Soju perhaps in the next round.
Yep.
And that is huge.
Very smart.
Okay, having to grab this Earthquake here, I think, but that means you got to sell the Morgana. Oh, no, there is enough gold if you sell the Tarek. Going to be
Taric will be sold here. Putting the Taric into into the board is pretty smart, especially with Taric being so powerful.
Yeah, try to hit that Morgana upgrade. Did not find it, though. Going up against El Mumu now, who has reached that critical mass and has the dragon.
El Mumu is all in here to beat K3 Soju and take away Vitality's hopes of the 2-0 here. The Kalista is getting CC'd, but now is jumping around on this board, hoping to get all those resets. The Syndra hoping to take out that unit here early. The Edge of Night has procced, and now onto the dragon they go. Will you be able to kill all 10 units and a 4,000 health dragon? Onto the backline. Syndra's still alive, now taking down the Xerath, and El Mumu out even with the dragon. K3 Soju has the world in his hands. Vitality's hopes all in the hands of our favorite streamer, K3 Soju.
Soju is doing the impossible, the golden quest, sacrificing the first 11 rounds of the game, dropping to 8 HP, and might be winning 12 and 13 rounds in a row to take the victory. Panda still being on 2 lives, however, is trying to still improve the board. Some big changes there.
Some big changes coming through. Is there anything Panda can do? Did he grab a really important charm? It looks like Soju did not even grab a combat charm. The Kalista 2 on the other side and the Camille 2 now for Panda could make a big difference in this game, but 21 health is not a lot. The Camille is still alive for Soju after cashing out this golden quest. Soju is on the run of a lifetime to secure the 2-0 victory here in the winner's stage. But we will have one more fight.
Just one more, but we get a carousel round. Is there a Morgana here? No, there is not. Any emblems that can really change this game up? Not particularly. It is just going to be adaptive on a Diana that Soju's grabbing. Panda wanted it, but was denied. Panda got rolled in that last round. Is there anything that they can do to improve this board as we see the side-by-side? Only 10 gold. Desperate plea. You can hang on for 1 round longer. At the very least, maybe fight RNG goes his way. Needs to hope that is the case.
Soju did hit that Morgana too that he's been looking for. He now also has a Diana on bench, swapping that in for the Taric, making this board even a little bit stronger, putting Preserver onto that unit. We know that Panda will not die this round, but Soju is still vulnerable to death if something goes crazy with this fight RNG. The Rakan is trapped in the middle of this team, and the Morgana almost drops down there and then will drop down. This fight is looking a little bit better for Panda, knowing that he can't die. Soju is on the edge of the ropes here, finally able to take down that Nasus, the Camille into the backline. This fight is not looking very close anymore. I don't know if there's anything Panda can do.
Yeah, maybe finding another dragon or something like that, right? You gotta have such a good combat charm. Yodel Spirit is a good one. Is it good enough? And Panda will take it.
It's all he can afford. Is there anything else we can do positioning-wise to possibly beat Soju?
Soju taking just temporary Bramble Vest as the best charm available. 13 rounds was not enough. It is going to be potentially the 14th round win in a row for Soju to take out Panda, or can MSJ's Panda take them into a game 3?
Here we go, the final fight of this match between Team Vitality, and whoever wins this fight, whether it's MSJ or Vitality, will move